Hi, this is Taryn Martinson with the Truth About Storytelling, and this week I'm talking about writing conferences and why it's a good idea to go to them. So, I actually missed yesterday, so I apologize if you were looking for three more videos this week and you're only going to get two more videos. But yeah, things happened yesterday, and I just realized that yes, I want to do 100 Monday through Friday videos, but there are going to be days that I have to give myself a little bit of grace and then move on. So that's actually, I think, a really healthy way of viewing our lives, but also the whole writing life and any kind of creative life. You do your best. You do your absolute best, and then there are days you kind of have to go, okay, time to push back, time to wait and see how I can improve on this another day, but not today. Like, yeah, there are just days we have to give ourselves grace, and that's the way life is. So, today I want to talk to you about 5 things that you could take with you to an author conference to have the best possible time. So, the first thing that I think is a good idea to have is some kind of writing utensil combination, whether you like to write on a laptop or you like to write in a notebook, or maybe even you like to write on both and you bring both. But I think you want to have some writing utensils with you to take notes, and also for maybe those moments when if you're like me and you get a little you're introverted and you feel a little overwhelmed by lots of people, you can say, okay, I'm going to take this moment aside. Maybe I'm gonna skip a session and I'm gonna just write for 20 or 30 minutes and kind of like process all this cool information I'm learning, or maybe even write a story I started. Because I did go to a writing conference in which there were classes where we started stories, and those can be really fun classes to take at writing conferences, especially if you're kind of feeling a little bit of like information overload with all the craft and writing and marketing and those types of classes. So sometimes it can be fun just take a moment at a writing conference to write. It's kind of a cool idea. So, anyway, I recommend bringing some kind of writing utensil combination. Again, pen, paper, laptop, however you like to write. I'd bring that method. Maybe not, like stone tablet with, chisels. I think that'd be a little messy. Anyway, so I was trying to be humorous, but I try. So the second thing I think you need to bring with you is you need to bring clothes that you feel comfortable in and confident in. So I think in my first video about this, I talked about looking professional, or at least having one professional outfit for a multi-day conference. And I think you want to first wear something that you feel confident in, and you're comfortable enough that you're not going to worry about, like, oh no, like I had the problem with my skirt at the one writing conference. That was not fun. So something you feel confident in, you feel comfortable in, and you're pretty sure you're not going to have any like clothing malfunctions in. So yeah, something like that, that suits you, and if possible suits what you write. Now, I have yet to find something like an outfit that I feel really suits me as a fantasy sci-fi author who also writes poetry. So I've yet to figure out what that outfit looks like exactly. I've tried a few things. But yeah, some people will dress like their character, or they will dress in a way that they feel indicates that they're a sci-fi author or they're a dark romance author, and they'll have a very specific outfit that they wear with certain tones to indicate a mood and the type of writing that they do. If you could do that, and you have an outfit like that that you feel confident and comfortable in, wear that. That's awesome. And so I've seen some really creative and cool things. Some conferences will actually have like a dress up evening event. Sometimes that means dressy, like, uh, very nice clothes. And sometimes that means dress up like wear a Comic Con costume. And those are usually your fantasy and sci fi type writing conferences, but it can be really fun to do. And so if you go to a conference like that, it's fun to participate. If you don't feel comfortable, you can bring like one or two costume elements and see how you can mix that in to your wardrobe, and that can be fun too. So again, so writing utensils, clothes that you feel confident in. So third up, I think what you need to do is know yourself. So bring your own understanding of yourself and know whether or not you can go it alone or if you need to bring a buddy. So I've been at conferences by myself and I've been to conferences kind of with a buddy. I have to admit I prefer to go to conferences by myself. I'm an only child, I'm introverted, I'm just kind of wired that way and I like to meet people, but I also like to be able to go off and like hide somewhere for just short bits of time. So years ago, I went to a writing conference with a friend of mine's mom, and because she was a professional author, and another time I went to a writing conference with one of my aunts. And they were both good experiences, but the whole time I was kind of thinking about whether or not this other person was enjoying themselves. Now, I could tell you that I do need to work on my personal boundaries. I've been working on it for a while, and I need to. So, for me, going to a writing conference, I'm going to get the most out of it if I go on my own. If I take a buddy with me, I'm going to be struggling to remember, oh, yeah, hey, keep the boundary. They're capable. I don't have to watch over them. They got it, you know. And so I like to go to them by myself. But I know other people really like to have a buddy with them. So they stay, confident, someone who can speak life into them in between every event. Um, I think one of my favorite writing conferences or favorite like combo experiences of solo and friend time at a writing conference included time where I could spend time with friends that I met there and time when I could go off and be by myself. And it was sort of like this independent with friends thing. And I actually think that's my favorite version. So driving myself there, but meeting people and then kind of coming and going based on how I was feeling and they were feeling and how that all worked out. So it's just good to kind of know yourself. It sounds like a strange thing to bring with you, but bring an understanding of who you are. And if you need quiet time, you need quiet time. And if you need a buddy, bring a buddy. It's all good. And so, fourth thing you need to bring, and this might be hard for some of us, is you need to bring an attitude of confidence about who you are. That's kind of the same thing like knowing, do I need a buddy? Do I want to go by myself, etc. But bring a sense of confidence about who you are and what you write. You know what you write. You spend time writing. You know how much time you spend at it. You know how much you've worked at it. And be confident in the fact that you're a writer. And I know maybe that's easy for some people. I know the first time I went to a writing conference, it was terrifying and I kind of felt like, well, maybe I wasn't good enough and maybe I wasn't really a writer because I'd only had like 3 poems published. And then I've met people who've come to writing conferences and they haven't had anything published anywhere at all. And they're terrified. They're sure that everybody knows more, is more, or whatever is more than they are. And that's not true. There's a lot of new writers who come to writing conferences who've never been published before, who've never been to a writing conference before. And really good writing conferences will have like newbie, or I shouldn't say newbie, but new author events. So people who've never attended the conference before, or even people who it's their first ever conference. So they'll have events for writers who are new to conferences. And those are really helpful events if you are new at a writing conference and that writing conference has a new author event, go to it. It's really helpful. I have been to other writing conferences, but the first time I went to Realm Makers, I went to their new to Realm Makers event, and it was very helpful to hear other authors talk about what helped them the most going to Realm Makers for the first time. So, again, recommend it if there's a new author event, find it. And if you are new to writing conferences, tell people, and most people are going to help you. And you might also find some other people who are also new, and you can hang out with them and like share your thoughts about how things are going with you. So, the other thing to bring with you, if possible, is a pitch. And I talked about this before in my other video, but I want you to think about like what I need to think about too is how do you pitch yourself and how do you pitch your projects? Because you might have one book, or you might have written multiple books, or maybe you've written a bunch of short stories and some poetry and a book. Think about what's the one way that you want to present yourself, or what's three things you want people to know after they've met you, and what's one to three things you want them to know about what you write after they met you. And then maybe start your pitch kind of from that basis of how to inform people about who you are and what you write, because it's really important to be able to talk to people. And if you have to practice 100 or 1,000 times in front of the mirror or to your cat or dog or your goldfish, that's perfectly fine to do. There are a lot of professional writers who have practiced like that. I was amazed by this particular author when he taught a session on pitches. And I really need to look at my notes and remember what his name was, because he's actually really famous. It's just I don't normally read in the genre that he writes, and so I didn't know him that well. But yeah, he did this phenomenal job on teaching about pitches. But he talked about doing 100 pitches for a book that he loved. So not his own book, a book that he loved, like taking The Hobbit and saying and giving a pitch for it, like 100 different pitches, 100 times to friends and family to say, okay, if you heard this pitch, would you know it was The Hobbit, and would you be interested in reading it? And then doing that with just random ideas, coming up with, having people give him different ideas and coming up with pitches and doing that another 100 times. And then after doing all of that, then working on his own book pitch. And that was just, I was in that class. I thought, okay, that's what I need to do to get good at pitching my own material. So it's something I'm still working on, even though I've given pitches before, even though I have given pitches and actually had pages requested. I still I know I could learn, right? I know I could learn more and I could definitely practice more. So yeah, you want to bring writing utensils. You want to bring knowledge of yourself. I feel like I missed something there. And you want to bring confidence or clothing. That's what it was. Clothing that you feel comfortable in, knowledge of yourself, whether you like lots of people or you want to go it on your own. And you want to bring confidence as much as you can and know that all writers are actually, we may be very, very different, but we have some similarities. And if you're nervous at a writing conference, guess what? Somebody else is too, and it's okay. It's normal. And then also, oh, what did I just say? Bring a pitch for yourself and for your projects. Those are the most important things. I mean, whether you decide to eat the conference lunch or bring your own, or whether you decide to go to an author signing or not, all those things, those are variables based on what you want to do. But it's just a really good idea to have at least those 5 things in place. And then if you can, check out the conference schedule ahead of time. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in tomorrow's video about how to get the most out of your conference schedule if you can get it ahead of time. And I think I'm going to call it a day for today. So thank you for joining me with The Truth About Storytelling. This is Tyreen Martinson.